You know, folks, I've said many times that I do not have the ability to jump through the hoops of the mental gymnastics that Donald Trump has his followers perform. I can't do it. Because if you have a reasonable bone in your body, or you understand things like logic, his words just contradict themselves constantly, and you catch yourself going, how do people continue to buy into this guy's bullshit? Because he will say one minute that it's a witch hunt, that he did nothing wrong, that this is all just one big hoax, that everyone's out to get him. And in the next breath turn around and say that he needs immunity. Well, if you need immunity, then that means you've done something wrong. Otherwise, you don't need immunity. You only need immunity if you've done something wrong. So you can't really have it both ways, but he's to the point now where he's pretty much just saying out loud that he needs immunity. And it's not about him, he says. It's not about him. It's about a president needing immunity. And he doesn't realize just how this is going to bite him in the ass, but take a look at it anyway.
Well, we have a big case today. This judge isn't allowing me to go. We have a big case today in the Supreme Court on presidential immunity. A president has to have immunity. If you don't have immunity, you just have a ceremonial president. You won't have a.
Do you know about the payments?
So we have a big.
So I got a speeding ticket the other day. The cop walks up to the window and he said, the reason why I pulled you over is because you were doing 60 and that's a 45 back there. So I need to see your license and registration. Now just imagine if I had have said, well, officer, wait a minute, I need immunity. Drivers have to have immunity, because if you start putting a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit in this town, there's going to be a lot of drivers that's going to need to do 60. A lot of drivers are going to need to do 80. And if you make people go 45, I mean, you're going to have drivers that's never going to be able to get anywhere. So I have to have immunity. Do you think if I'd have said that to that cop, I'd have got out of that ticket? Do you think that he would have been like, oh, well, we're sorry, sir. Yeah, absolutely. We'll just take the speed limit signs down and you guys just do whatever the hell you want to, because, yeah, you're right. You got to get where you're going. Now, if you think that sounds batshit insane, it is batshit insane. And it's batshit insane when a man who was once leader of the free world stands up and says, I need immunity. I just need to be free to do whatever I want to. And he doesn't realize when he says a president must have full immunity. Okay, then, Joe Biden, lock up Donald Trump. Lock him up. If you feel he's a threat, go ahead and lock him up, because you have immunity. You can do whatever you want to. Stop coming after Joe Biden. Stop coming after Hunter Biden. Stop with all that, because the president has all immunity. They don't think this stuff through when they say it. They don't realize that when they give this guy free reins, what it actually means. But as I sat and listened to the Supreme Court hearings about this, the only thing that I was really going through my mind, if I'm being honest with you, was I cannot believe we are having this conversation. I can't believe this is even a conversation, because we're talking about, should a president be allowed to share the nuclear codes, and is he immune from that? We're actually having that conversation. Take a look.
If a president sells nuclear secrets to a foreign adversary, is that immune?
That sounds like, similar to the bribery example, likely not immune. Now, if it's structured as an official act, he would have to be impeached and convicted first before.
What does that mean if it's structured as an official act?
Well, I don't know in the hypothetical whether or not that would be an official act. You'd probably have to have more details to apply the Blazing Game analysis, or even the Fitzgerald analysis that we've been talking about.
So if a president can just show off the nuclear codes to whoever he wants to, then no one ever needs to say her emails ever again. No one ever needs to bring up anything ever again. If you're going to give this guy a pass, you have to give everybody a pass. And Trump said so himself. Those are just his words. I'm just using his words. But it goes a step further here. Now they're having the conversation about, should a president be allowed to assassinate his political opponents if he feels they're a threat? Yeah, we're really having this conversation in 2024. Check it out.
But it has to be proven. Malum in se is a concept long viewed as appropriate in law, that there's some things that are so fundamentally evil that they have to be protected against. Now, I think, and your answer below, I'm going to give you a chance to say, if you stay by it, if the president decides that his rival is a corrupt person and he orders the military or orders someone to assassinate him, is that within his official acts that for which he can get immunity?
It would depend on the hypothetical, but we can see that could well be an official act.
It could, and why? Because he's doing it for personal reasons. He's not doing it like President Obama is alleged to have done it, to protect the country from a terrorist. He's doing it for personal gain. And isn't that the nature of the allegations here? That he's not doing these acts in furtherance of an official responsibility. He's doing it for personal gain.
I agree with that characterization of the indictment, and that confirms immunity, because the characterization is that there's a series of official acts that were done for an unlawful.
No, because immunity says even if you did it for personal gain, we won't hold you responsible. How could that be?
That's an extremely strong doctrine in this court's case law in cases like Fitzgerald.
Well, we
Harlan,
go back
Johnson,
to
and so
Justice
forth.
Thomas's question, which
So yeah, they're going for it, folks. They're absolutely saying it all out loud now. They're not holding back. You know, 1 minute Donald Trump will switch back and forth. He'll bait and switch, and he'll say it was a hoax and it was all a witch hunt, blah, blah, blah. But he's always going to circle back to, but I have to have immunity. And he wants immunity so that if he's reelected, he's got a blank check. And if a president has immunity, then when he gets in office, can he just stick around? He wouldn't really have to leave, would he? If he's got full immunity, he could say, no, we're not going to have any more elections. And this is the guy who said, I'll just be dictator for 1 day. And we're supposed to trust him with that. We're supposed to sit back and we're supposed to let democracy fall into the hands of a man who says that and who says presidents need immunity. If he thinks it's okay to share nuclear codes with whoever the hell he wants to, if he thinks it's okay to assassinate his political opponents, that's straight up dictator shit. And if he thinks it's okay for him to do that and he's immune to do all of those things, what makes you think we would ever have an election in this country again? Why would anybody think that our democracy was safe in the hands of a man who's telling you, I need a blank slate to do whatever I want to? Just let me do anything I want to and don't hold it against me, but let's hold it against everybody else. And let's hold it against everybody who I deem a threat. Let's hold it against everybody who I disagree with. That is insanity. And we cannot normalize this. And I know that you hear this every election. Someone will say, this is the most important election of our lifetime. They have said it my entire life. But folks, this is it. I mean, this is America's future, and our democracy is on the line. I've always thought, okay, this one's important, and I could see the importance of each one. But never in my life have I felt like, well, this might be the last. But I feel that way now because not only do we have a guy saying that shit, we got people gullible enough and stupid enough to buy into it, not realizing just how hard it will bite them in the ass. They don't even see it. Why? Because they're caught up in the story. They're rooting for a guy who is cruel to people they hate. And that's why they love him. As long as he's cruel to people they hate and people they don't understand, they will sit back and give him that blank check, and they will let him do anything he wants. They will just turn the reins over to him altogether. But that could come back to bite them in the ass the day that he says, you know what? Yeah, these hillbillies here in Appalachia, yeah, I don't like those poor ignorant hillbillies anymore. I don't need them anymore. So yeah, to hell with them. It will come back to bite you in the ass. And the fact that people can't see through that is truly mind-boggling to anyone with one shred of a voice of reason.